So, Cloudflare went down. The internet trembled. Millions lost access to ChatGPT, Canva, X, and several other essential corners of our digital lives. And suddenly, your day collapsed. Let me guess. Deadlines were missed. Replies were delayed. You stared into the abyss of your monitor, horrified, realizing something tragic. My productivity is entirely dependent on invisible things floating in Wi-Fi signals. Have you ever wondered why a simple outage in just one of the services provided on the internet could affect you so much? We start our days with plans, coffee, and ambition. But less than 2 hours into a Tuesday, a service that 99% of users couldn't spell correctly renders us mentally paralyzed. And that's not just a tech fail, it's a humanity fail. Welcome to the quiet way, where we don't panic, we question, observe, and challenge everything. Yes, even your relationship with sacred cloud. Okay, let's stop pretending this was just a server issue. Let's admit the truth. We weren't using technology. We were depending on it. And that's a big deal. See, there's a significant difference between use and dependence. Using something means it's a tool. Depending means it's a crutch, or worse, an intravenous drip for your sense of capability. And when Cloudflare failed, it wasn't just digital infrastructure that collapsed. It was our sense of control. You felt blocked, not because you couldn't do your task manually, but because you forgot how. You didn't prepare for the moment when the lights might flicker out. And that is what bothers us the most. Not the outage, the exposure, the horrifying realization we've outsourced our thinking. That was the feeling of most people when Cloudflare failed. And this only happened because they passively allowed themselves to get into this situation. They tacitly accepted the comfort of technology and stopped doing what was natural for them in exchange for having everything at their fingertips with the help of AI and other technologies. But what's the problem with that? Well, being too dependent is bad. It generates anxiety. It generates worries. It takes away your peace. A person who today depends on AI to work simply cannot deliver anything if someone takes the AI away from him. That's scary. At a moment like this, the person finds themselves in chaos. Thinking more deeply, we can see that even when failures don't happen, the fact of being totally dependent on technologies brings a feeling of permanent incapacity. Because although everything may be flowing, your subconscious will always know that everything is being done with a strong dependence on things that are simply not in your control. The person who uses, but is not dependent on, can devise strategies when failures happen. They have kept their brains active even with the facilities brought by technology. They can collect a text from the AI, but they read it, correct parts, improve others, insert ideas. They are active, not passive. Let's zoom in. A lawyer asks ChatGPT for some legal precedents. It responds elegantly, confidently, with a reference that sounds legitimate. But plot twist, it was entirely fictional. Did she check? Nope. Did she verify? Of course not. She just copy-pasted it straight into court. She lost the case, but gained something even more valuable, humility, and presumably, a future filled with slightly more critical thinking. We laughed when calculators made math class redundant. But now, AI has made cognitive effort itself feel redundant. And that's not just risky, that's dangerous. She lost the case and certainly gained a reputation, not a very good one. People may be losing their peace by losing the ability to create through their own means. Men are naturally good builders, engineers, mechanics. But how many cultivate such skills? If something breaks, most have to spend a lot of money so that someone else can fix it. Basic activities have ceased to be explored. This is not natural. On weekends, when at home, strong-minded men fix their cars, fix the house, mow the lawn, keep their bodies and minds active. Creativity flows through their veins. Women are naturally good homemakers. They know how to organize. They decorate the house in a way that no man can fail to feel in a pleasant environment. They take care of the children like no one else. But how many have stopped doing that? Worse, how many fail to do it without realizing that this was the root of many problems? Human beings are made to create. Failing to do so can be the root of ills, such as anxiety and depression. The best rest after a week of work is often a different, natural job that puts you in touch with yourself. Let's take this deeper. Most people didn't cry over Cloudflare because of late work. They panicked because their creative process flatlined without artificial help. Without the tools, they couldn't even start. When Cloudflare fails, it doesn't cause harm. It exposes a harm that already existed and was append. And here's the madness. Even 8 things are working. Blind dependence on technology breeds quiet anxiety. A constant what-if whispering in the back of your mind. Append the bot breaks. Append UI updates. Append Canva deletes my slides. Your append peace. You're existing on borrowed stability. Remote-controlled productivity. Delayed adulthood. Because technology feeds convenience. But dependence eats your peace. When I saw people suffering because of this problem, I conceived this EPN. The words of this script were written during the Cloudflare blackout, because if there's a problem, there's a solution, and human beings are made dependent solutions. Append you are capable of creating solutions for many people. Then you have a valuable asset. Artificial intelligence is yet another human creation, and like all others, it can be used to enhance results. It doesn't replace humans. It empowers humans. Non-appendent person will know how to use it better than the appendent person. Non-appendent person will add value to the possible advantages of AI. A appendent man, over time, will be a spectator of the most basic results of technology. Let me paint a picture. Imagine 2 men. Both own the same vehicle, a rugged, powerful, 4WD SUV. One reads the manual, explores forests, adapts to terrain, learns the inner mechanics. The other uses it to drive 6 blocks to Starbucks and asks if the cup holders have wireless charging. Same machine, vastly different outcomes. The same applies to tech. The same applies to you. Power used actively equals growth. Power used passively equals sedation. Look around. When did fixing your sink become a rare talent? When did writing without a grammar checker feel impossible? We've substituted natural effort for digital shortcuts, and now struggle to process basic discomfort. Men forget how to build. Women forget how to nurture real spaces. Everyone forgets how to be engaged without stimulation. And the more we skip the process, the more disembodied we become from the life we once knew how to live. That's not evolution. That's erosion. When you don't build, you don't grow. When you don't grow, your peace gets eaten alive by restlessness. Here's the bleak truth. Cloudflare didn't ruin your day. It simply revealed how you've quietly surrendered it. You, a thinking, feeling, gifted human, gave away the steering wheel in exchange for cruise control. But here's the twist. The quiet fail sparked a louder realization. You are made to create, to move, to critique, to think without needing a mental exoskeleton. That's the challenge. You don't need glorified productivity hacks. You need a hammer, or a paintbrush, or a quiet 30 minutes of unfiltered thought. You are not here to be a passenger. You are the driver. And here, we don't leave without a purpose. We are not mere spectators of problems. We have a mission to improve. Let's outline a silent and powerful action. So today, start small. Build something. Anything. Write a small piece your AI couldn't. Repair something broken in your home. Organize a shelf with attention and care. Cook a meal without Googling every step. Create a toy for your child. Design something. Draw. Talk. Connect. Start. Even fixing something broken can get you moving. Create not because the internet said to, but because that's what whole humans do. That's what makes us alive. When the lights flash off again, and they will, make sure you still run. Not because of code, but because of character. Start exercising your abilities with intention. Develop new skills while creating. Enjoy the beauty of living a life using your full human potential. You are more than a spectator. You are a spark of the divi. This is the quiet way. We don't scream. We don't panic. We build with silence, with grit, and with intention. Use the tools. Don't Biko. Me one. If this spoke to you, if it made you slightly uncomfortable or deeply inspired, you're in the right place. Subscribe, share, and I'll see you in the next blackout or the next breakthrough. Whichever comes first.